Hello camping family, my name is Joni. I'm half of those who glamp together. Mike is not going to be in this video. You may see some B-roll of him, but he's not going to be in this video. It's just going to be me presenting to you today. And what I want to do is I want to bring to you a list of things that might help you prepare for the summer camping trips. So we all are going through these, getting the camper out, getting the cover taking off, getting it out of winterization mode, and preparing for the summer. So I want to go over some tips that may help you make those first few trips very successful, if not the whole season. Stay tuned to the end because we have some resources that we want to share with you. One of the first things we want to do is we want to jump in there, kind of see, almost like assessing what has happened over the winter. You know, it's sat for 3 or 4 or more months for most people. We kind of just want to see what's going on. If there's things on the floor, if there's water, spots on the floor, that'll kind of give you some good signs of like what has happened or is happening with your camper. The other thing is to get everything out of those cupboards. One, you can get your dishes washed up, but then also it will allow you to reorganize, and you can kind of see if there's been any residual like critters in there. So the first thing I would do, get inside, get things cleaned up, and get things reorganized. While you're inside dealing with, you know, cleaning up and everything, I always kind of put a pad of paper to the side and just write down things I need, like trash bags or things that we pull out that we need to actually put back in. So paper towels, plasticware, paper plates, things like that. So those are your stock items that I would say. Making sure that you have what you need and make a list for those. And I put like a pad while I'm cleaning and reorganizing so I can say, hey, I need dishwasher soap, I need trash bags, things like that. And I can write them down and make sure that they're getting stocked before we actually go on our first trip. And usually that local IGA or the camper store typically will charge you 2 to 3 times more than what you could get it ahead of time. So these are kind of to save you a little bit of money. While I'm inside the camper, I like to check on the bathroom items, black tank treatments, also toilet paper, or just the necessities you need for your showers, and make sure that you're resupplying your towels and making sure they're clean, your bedding and making sure those are clean. The next thing I want to share with you is while you're in that camper is to check your appliances, like your refrigerator, your stove, your microwave. What are the things that run off of propane, and check them. So you're checking the propane tanks all the way up to the stove, oven, and also your furnace. Those kind of things need checked. Turn them on, make sure they're running, make sure things sound correctly. And another big one is to make sure the hot water heater is working. Because you're winterized, you probably have taken out that anode rod, so that's a good time to replace it. But then also you need to put it back in there, fill it up with water, and then make sure that it works before you head out for your first trip. One of the other items I like to have on hand is making sure I have a first aid kit available. Those are a personal thing for most people, but I always say the more the merrier. So we kind of like overstock with our first aid kit. The other thing is kind of like some safety items like batteries, and if you have a weather radio and if that needs a battery for that, your smoke detector, and then also your carbon monoxide detector. So you want to make sure that those things are running because those are safety things, especially because you're just turning on like your propane with your stove or, you know, your oven or even your furnace. So you got to come outside and deal with the things that sometimes you just don't want to deal with, but are the most important things to deal with, which is your tires and your tire pressure. That is one thing you do not want to even take it out of storage without checking those things. That could give you a really bad day if you're not to the correct pressure that those tires need to be. But while you're in there, some of the things that you need to consider is like the maintenance of your rig. It is recommended that you should be repacking those bearings in your wheels. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. And if you haven't done it and you have a fairly new rig, that needs to be something that you need to put on your list and have that done sooner than later. It is good to even track your mileage so you know when you need to do those kind of things. Some of the other things that you need to do is just kind of inspect your springs, inspect your equalizer if you have one. Just anything that's underneath there with suspension, give it a good visual. You don't just want to pull out of your storage unit area and just think that everything will be fine, we'll get home and we'll fix things. You know, things do happen. And then while you're outside preparing for your first trip, the other things you need to prepare for are things like your seals. And your seals need reconditioned probably once or twice a year. It just kind of depends on if it's sitting outside all the time. We typically only do it once a year because fortunately we have a enclosed bay for our camper. Maybe washing the camper, getting it ready to go. The other thing you can look at is checking all of your window seals and making sure that they're not cracked and they don't need new caulking around them. Also, the seams will need checked, things like that. And then we have the roof. The roof is kind of a big one where when you go up there, you need to be inspecting caulking, make sure that it's not cracked, it's not falling apart. If it needs replaced, go ahead and replace it by inspecting that. And I would even do that regularly throughout the year, maybe like every month or so. You just get up there, check things out, making sure things are clean. You can check your AC unit, make sure it's clean. So just kind of like make it a whole chore list of like, hey, while I'm on the roof, let's check this, this, and this. So one of the last things I want to share with you is your garage space. All rigs, we call them garages, which would be like your storage area. Pulling those things out, kind of inspecting, making sure there was no water leaks from previous trips. Also to get your camping chairs out, making sure they're ready to go and clean and things like that. And then that'll give you a chance to pull everything out, clean everything up, and then put everything back in a really organized way. So being very organized, knowing where everything's at is kind of helps set you up for successful trips. And that's what we do. We from time to time will stop, pull things out, clean things up, and then put things back in a more organized way. But one thing we do have for you is we made a checklist. So we have a checklist. If you reach out to us, we can email this to you. We'll put our email along the bottom. But if you guys want to see this, we left some blank spaces for you to even fill in. We really appreciate you guys watching and being with us and traveling with us as we navigate to full-time RVing, which is our ultimate goal in the end. And but we love having you guys come along with us. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you back from week to week. We do post videos weekly. But if you guys have any comments, things that I didn't cover, things that maybe I forgot about, you know, so we hope we covered most of the important things for you. But if you do have something that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it and share that with our community. But until next time, happy glamping.